Okay, we're going to tie Bob's Caddis. This caddis has a down wing and is tied in a little different method than most flies that use any sort of snowshoe rabbit's foot hare. In that the tips are mounted out over the eye and the butt ends are what stick to the left. The eyes on this are mono eyes. You can buy them great big like this. You can buy them fairly small. Any size you want, really. As you can see, they come from extra small to large, and then all of them are black. Or you can make your own, and if you do, you need a pair of needle nose pliers and some short lengths of anywhere from 25 to like 60 pound of monofilament. You place that monofilament in the pliers, get yourself a Flicky or Bic lighter, and just melt the ends. Be careful you don't get it too close because it will just start burning. But in this case, you see it ball right up like that. If you use dark monofilament instead of clear monofilament like this, you get almost a black colored eye. But if clear is all you have on hand, you melt them like that. You lay them down on a piece of paper or something. Get a little can of black spray paint and spray straight down on them. When they blew all around there a second ago, it was because I was spraying at an angle. If you spray straight down, hey, they stay right in place, and all of a sudden they're black. And when they dry, you just bust them loose from the dried paint, and there you go. You have all these monofilament eyes that you made yourself. Dump them onto a sheet of paper, crease it, and just dump them into a container of some sort and save them. Doesn't take long to make a bunch of them. For thread, I'm going to use an 8/0 gray. You can tie this in a bunch of different body colors, and you just match the body color. This is a rabbit's foot, snowshoe rabbit's foot hair. Cut it all off, threw it in a blender, and there's what I got, a dubbing ball. And of course, some of that hair you're going to use for the wing. And there's the eyes that I painted. And the eye is really the first thing to go on the hook. So we start to thread, just wrap back, long enough to make sure the tag end is secure, wrap back up towards the eye, and back just a hair, and cut that tag off, and mount the eye. The hard part's grabbing one of these little things and getting it in place. Now, the eye should be right up against the eye of the hook, these eyes that you're mounting. Take 2 or 3 wraps in one direction like this. Not too much pressure or you'll tighten it right up. But I looked at that and decided, geez, that's not close enough to the eye. This really does have to be very close to the eye. Closer than you normally would mount a pair of eyes on a fly. So I moved them a little forward here, took a couple turns around them. I'll get a couple turns going the other way. So I got a figure 8 on it, even them up. There we go. I've got eyes, and as you can see, they're right at the eye of the hook. A few crisscross wraps, grab a little head cement. Head cement kind of holds it in place, gives you something to bind it while you're tightening things down. But if you really want them to stay without twisting ever when you're fighting a fish or anything like that, super glue is a little better answer. I just didn't have any on hand. So with some glue on there, I start making wraps, and see, these are horizontal wraps. I'm not going down underneath the hook. I'm just going underneath the eye, around underneath the eye, underneath like that, but never down under the hook. Those wraps really tighten that thing up. Make a wrap or 2 in front here, a couple cross wraps, a couple cross back the other way, and that should be relatively secure, especially when that glue dries. And super glue, hey, they would be secure by now. So go ahead and wrap right to the bend of the hook, and get some of that underfur dubbing that was made from the snowshoe rabbit's foot in a bulk quantity this afternoon, as a matter of fact. Take some of that. I like to put it in my right hand, the hand I hold the bobbin in, so that if I need any more, it's right there handy, and I just grab a little bit in my left hand, or my non-thread hand, I should say, and start dubbing it onto the thread. I usually just wet my fingertips. You can wax the thread if it's more convenient for you. I generally don't bother just wetting my fingertips, just licking them a little bit, and twisting that on there is usually enough to get that hair to dub onto the thread. You want to make about a 2-inch length of dubbed material like this. And once you get it dubbed on there, it's just going to wrap up to the eyes, and maybe 1 or 2 wraps in front of the eyes if it'll fit. Okay, with about 2 inches of that dubbed, I'll start wrapping. Once that dubbing catches, I use up all the thread that didn't have dubbing on it, I go ahead and start wrapping forward. You can either wrap overhand manually like that, or if you have a rotary vise, certainly you can just rotate up to the eyes. One of the reasons I like to hold my dubbing in right hand like that and keep it there is if I run out of dubbing like this, I don't have to pick it up off the table again or anything. It's right there in my right hand. I just grab a few fibers with my left, dub it on, and keep on going. And I'm right to the eyes, and oh gee, I got enough. I can make 1 wrap here in front and then come back behind the eyes. There's not a lot left of this fly at this point. There's no tail on it, so you've got the eyes and you've got the body done, and the only thing now is to mount a wing. It all looks good. I don't see any big obvious gaps in my dubbing. I'm going to just take some fibers off the tip of this rabbit's foot. Off the tip only because, hey, I've used the rest of it. That's all that's left. So I'll cut out a clump here, fairly good sized clump. Clean out some of that loose stuff that's in the bottom. Rotate this around so that the guard hair tips are pointing out over the eye. Take off some of these excess pieces, and if I can, you know, I'll kind of pull and even this up a little bit. Those tips look pretty good. That half that clump over on the side is a little short. I just pull it up. There we go. Get that long couple pieces there. That's close enough. You just need enough to stick out over the tip. And you want to be pretty close to the eyes when you tighten this down. I usually make 3 or 4 wraps right here, just loose wraps, then pinch that stuff between my thumb and forefinger and pull straight down on the thread to cinch it. And I pull straight down and put my bobbin straight in line. Not like this. This will break your thread. Put it straight down like this and pull straight down. Pulling at a right angle with your bobbin 90 degrees off from your thread is very apt to break it. So make a few more wraps around the material itself, then go underneath, make a couple wraps in front, behind the eye there, and then a couple more wraps behind the eyes. So I've been in front and in back of the eyes, and that should be nice and secure. I'm going to go ahead and do a whip finish. If those eyes are mounted correctly, they're so close, or excuse me, if that wing is mounted correctly, it's so close to the eyes that the eyes force those little tufts of tips that are sticking out there up away from the eyes so that you have room to tie a whip finish knot. I rotate this down a little bit. You can see how the hair sticks up away from the eye. Straighten it out a little. So that's what gives you the room to tie your whip finish knot down there, and it all looks pretty good. That wing's a little long. If I lay it down like that, you can see it sticks quite a bit past the end of the hook. But it has a pretty much a delta shaped wing. That's what I want. And a little trim in here, and it'll be just right. Actually, it's pretty close. Okay, because that was pretty close, I whipped up another one here, and I'm going to use these longer scissors and trim this longer hair that I've got in the wing. I like these long scissors. One reason is I can reach all the way across something like this, and the other is it kind of keeps my hand out of the way when I'm trying to do a video. So I trimmed that off just beyond the bend of the hook, because caddis wings normally do extend beyond the bend of the hook or the body of the fly. And now I'm going to rotate and trim this in a conical shape. The overall end result or shape of this body that you want is like the shape of a Goddard caddis. And so you rotate and cut it in a conical shape like this. You're just keeping that same angle all the way around, and you can see from the bottom that results in that delta shaped wing that I really like. The big thing is here also is to cut this at an angle in the back, and I've got a fairly steep angle there. Some people angle that further back so that the top of the cut is more towards the center of the body, but it's the angle that you like. And having cut the back angle slope, I'll trim up these little pieces on the side, and we'll take a little closer look at this. I'll zoom in. You can see the angle of my back wing cut. The rest of the wing is in a conical shape. The hair does stick up in the front there, kind of like an elk hair caddis. And you can see, of course, the big eyes on this fly. This Bob's caddis has caught fish for me. I started fishing it last summer just as an experiment, and it worked pretty well. The hair on this rabbit's foot, just so you know where to get stuff from, this hair on the heel is pretty primo stuff. No broken tips. This hair in the middle is fairly long, some broken tips, and the toes always have a bunch of broken tips and a medium length of hair. Now you can get at some of this hair a little easier by spreading the toes on these rabbit's feet. You can get in the center here. The 2 toes on each side is 4 on the foot, of course. So you spread these, and you spread, and finally that bone breaks, and now you've got access to the hair on the inside, and you can see even better here how long the hair in the middle is, and how broken the hair on the tip is. Let me spread another one of these and break it open, and the last one here. There are the 4 of them, and access to the hair now is pretty easy. And as you can see, the hair in the middle is fairly long. The tips, some of them will be in pretty good shape. The hair on the tips, the toe is broken usually, and this hair, let me break this heel, there we go, and this is the heel of it, and this is the primo hair. This stuff right here is great for usuals. It's good for anything you're going to tie a wing post, like a Cannon's bunny dun, although often for the bunny dun I use the tip hair because the tips are broken, and often on a toe you bunny dun, you trim that toe hair anyway. But that's the primo stuff right there, the stuff in the heel. That's what you want to use for your usuals. Thank you for watching.